Michael McCann is the legal expert at Sports Illustrated, and we thought we would have him recap the verdict with Erin Andrews paid $55 million in the lawsuit against Marriott. And Michael joins us now. Recap the case if you can, Mike, and leave out the legalese.
Sure, Dan. So very basically, back in 2009, Michael David Barrett, who was a serial stalker who stalked Erin Andrews in different locations, who videotaped her in different locations, he pleaded guilty to interstate stalking, and he got 27 months in prison. After that, Andrews looked at her legal options and filed a civil lawsuit not only against him, but against the hotel that where he did some of his stalking and where he actually got a room next to her and used a video camera through a peephole to record her changing while she was naked and then posted videos. And her argument was that not only is this guy obviously negligent, beyond negligent, but in addition, the hotel, the two companies that operated the hotel were also negligent because they let him book a room next to her. They let him know that she was there. And she filed a lawsuit, and it took a long time to play out. But yesterday, a jury in Tennessee awarded her $55 million in damages, 28 to be paid by the peeping Tom, if you will, 27 by the two companies that operate the hotel. And that's where we're at. She's not going to get all that money, though, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. First of all, how did he get the room or rooms next to her at these hotels?
According to the facts, he called up the hotel and basically said, is she staying there? Which the hotel shouldn't have said yes, and they did. And then he requested a room next to her, and they went along with it. You know, that's a clear invasion of privacy. It's a clear wrongful act by the hotel. A hotel is not supposed to confirm that a person is staying at a hotel, and certainly not put that person in a position where someone calling about him or her has a room next to them. So that was a negligent act.
But then nobody sees him carving out the peephole to put a camera in the door?
Yeah, he did it. Apparently he was good at this, that he had done it a number of times, not only to her, but apparently to other women, that this was somebody who was, sort of grotesque, but trained as a peeping Tom, someone who was really good at this awful act, this invasive act. And he targeted Erin Andrews. He followed her to different cities, really just a creepy, awful human being. He now has $28 million next to his name that he owes her. Obviously, he's never going to be able to pay that.
The prosecution here, their angle with this, what did you think of their strategy?
Well, I think her lawyers did a very good job at making sure that she was able to talk in a way that evidenced the harm that she suffered, where her testimony was very powerful. She talked about how she's afraid when she travels. She really humanized what some people might say is, well, look, how bad was it? She wasn't physically hurt. She wasn't maimed. She wasn't disabled. She obviously wasn't killed. Her career has been successful in spite of that. So her lawyers had the challenge of saying, in spite of those things, what she suffered was really bad. Whereas the companies that represented the hotel, their strategy, Dan, I think backfired. They argued that she became a public figure, that she somehow benefited through this incident because people became more aware of her by seeing these videos. Her lawyers basically said, that's insane. This was an awful experience for her. Also, she was already a public figure before these videos surfaced. Yeah. It isn't as if she went from a nobody to somebody. She was already a major person in the media industry, and by putting these videos up, it defamed her, it embarrassed her. Whether it's worth $55 million when the average wrongful death of an adult female is only $3 million, when the average amount for damages from the doctor's negligence is $400,000. To me, $55 million is a number that doesn't correspond to how cases are. But she clearly suffered.
$55 million, but what's the real number here?
Yeah, the real number is definitely no more than $27 million, because you can cross off the $28 million that is assigned to the peeping Tom. He's not going to be able to pay anything. He is, by all accounts, broke, and there's no reason to think that he's going to achieve any kind of wealth over the rest of his life. He's 54 years old. So then you're down to $27 million. In all likelihood, the hotel operators will appeal, and they will argue that the jury was inflamed by passion, which is an argument that lawyers can make to try to reduce the award. They'll also argue that the award doesn't have any rhyme or reason based on precedent. that it's a number that's too excessive. So there's a chance, Dan, that an appellate court will knock down this award considerably. Also, I would say there's a good chance that they'll settle, where Andrews might settle for some figure that's much lower than that, but with the guarantee that she'll get paid. Because, sometimes when companies have a big verdict against them, they do maneuvers that can make it very hard for somebody to recover. For instance, they can declare bankruptcy. And if they declare bankruptcy, it doesn't eliminate the debt, but it could make it one that is very difficult for Andrews to collect on. So my guess is that she'll work out some settlement with them.
Michael, thank you. Great job recapping it. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Dan.
That's Michael McCann. You can read more at si.com. He's their legal expert there.